Well, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's the first Thursday of the month, and we are excited to be here and sharing this time with you guys. My name is Meredith Smith, and I am here with DCE Juliana Schultz. And not even a winter storm warning could keep us from spending time with our adult leaders this month. Working from home, though, we were just talking about it earlier, the perfect opportunity to wear some of this Gatheirng gear, get a little bit more casual. We like working from home. If you guys haven't taken the time to get some of this warm gear, except for you people in Florida where it's apparently just beautiful and super sunny, a little jealous today.
They get t-shirts, right?
Yeah, we've got Gatheirng t-shirts, we've got Gatheirng hats. It's perfect for you guys in Florida. But make sure you're shopping at the Gatheirng store to get some of those items for your work from home, for your adult leaders, for your youth, for yourself. I actually heard that there is an exclusive item on the Gatheirng store right now, which is the stickers. And you are only allowed to get those online. They will not be sold at the Gatheirng store. So very limited quantities of those. But if you guys want to go start shopping, maybe you just want to treat yourself today on Thursday, the first Thursday of February, go for it. We'll make sure to link you guys, but it is on the Gatheirng website. But we're not here to talk all day about the store, even though it's super awesome. We've got some really awesome items coming out. We've got a lot of resources and a lot of information we want to run through in the next 30 minutes. So we're just going to dive into what those resources are for our adult leaders right now. Juliana, you want to take over resources?
Yeah. So we're really excited. I know you guys have been asking when are the pre-Gatheirng Bible studies coming out? They are out now. So that is kind of our newest addition to the adult leader resources on the website. Is we have these Bible studies, and I know there's lots of different ways that you can use those Bible studies. So when we first released some information, we released kind of a timeline, and with that, we released some agendas, potential agendas, and you don't have to stick hard to that, but like if it's your first gathering and you're not sure kind of what pre-meetings could or should look like, we gave some suggestions. And with that, we really want to make sure that in the months as you prepare for the gathering, that you're spending time together in God's word. And particularly, we wanted to give you some guidance in preparing specifically for the gathering and our theme and all things in Colossians. And so we gave you those agendas. We do give you some short devotions, but if you're able to, that's a great place for you to run through these longer Bible studies that are pre-work. But they're also just great general Bible studies. So you can do them as part of your Sunday school or your time together throughout the week. So you don't have to be going to the gathering to enjoy this material, but it is really fantastic. And we hope that you are taking advantage of those and finding them on the website, but also maybe tying them to some other resources that are still up. Like the timeline, like the agendas, and if they're too long, making sure that you're using those devotions as well, so you're in God's word together.
Absolutely. It is great to see Amanda, seeing you using those Bible studies with your youth, getting them excited for diving into Colossians and a theme of in all things. We will definitely pass that along to the Bible study team because they were super excited to get these resources out to you guys. Super, super excited. Juliana, I know that maybe last month or 2 months ago, we talked about some upcoming resources, another resource drop. Can you tell me what's going to be in that resource drop?
So in January, we released parent resources, so ways to tie parents. I saw, Emily was saying like, hey, I use that with adults to help them prep for the gathering. That's a great way. But there's tons of ideas of ways to connect parents and other supportive adults back at home to the gathering. We still plan on, as soon as we can, putting out all the release forms you're going to need and commissioning service. We want to make sure we have some of those documents ready to go. And so the plan is still to release those relatively soon, but the timeline for those is a little bit in flux. So if you were like, I hoped that on February 1st, they would have these, not quite, but we're hoping at some point in this month, we'll be able to put those out. Always continuing to update those resources as we can, but those will kind of be the last. We're starting to get to the point where we're doing kind of the last bits of things. So probably you'll have a piece on on-site servant event options just so that you can plan for those and commissioning service and those kinds of things. but those are still coming in the weeks to come.
It's a good time to remind everybody that you still have plenty of time to get through all of these resources. There's still plenty of time until the gathering. I see Katie left a question of, will the Bible studies at the gathering be similar to what we've done, put out on the resource page? So Bible studies at the gathering are actually huge live groups. You've got usually 2 presenters that are presenting the material. The material will kind of go alongside of what you've done in your pre-gathering Bible study. They're not totally different. They're just, the pre-gathering Bible studies are going to prepare you what you're going to hear in the Bible studies at the actual gathering. So hopefully that is a helpful answer as you guys are doing these Bible studies. We really encourage you to do those before you come to the gathering, just to get started into Colossians. This might be the first time they've ever read the book of Colossians. So this is a great time to get started on that.
So it's all going to be on the same theme, but the Bible studies at the gathering are going to be their own Bible studies. You're going to love it. We have awesome presenters. So you don't have to do the pre-Bible studies. So like if that doesn't fit into your planning, that's fine. We just want to encourage you in that, but the Bible studies there will be different. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll kind of switch gears. You guys have heard us talk about registration since like October. So what is another month of talking about registration, right? We're still seeing your envelopes come in, and it is super exciting. It's super encouraging for our office. And just a reminder, in less than a month now, March 1st, the gathering registration rate will increase. If you haven't submitted anything by mail, maybe you have just started on the gathering registration program, you just got some names and you just have your adults and you haven't added your youth. If you don't submit anything hard copy to our office by March 1st, you're going to automatically be charged that $450 increase. So just make sure that you've got that in. This is a good place to mention. If you haven't started, doesn't mean you can't start right now. You've still got plenty of time. Again, we'll keep reiterating, you have plenty of time to get this stuff done. Just be sure that you get all of your paperwork in, all of those forms. If you have special needs forms, to make sure you fill those out when you send it in. And just a reminder that the deposit that you send in is a non-refundable deposit. Keyword on the non-refundable part. I know we had some questions about getting that back. But we just want to make sure that that's clear for you guys when you send that in. We don't want you to get charged the $450 if you've been working so hard to get all your stuff in, you've been fundraising. But know that you can always add people after March 1st. That leads us to the other date that you need to keep in mind is May 4th, because May 4th is the day that gathering registration closes. Now you have until May 31st to get all those youth. You can still substitute. We want you to bring your young people. We don't want you to lose your deposit. So if you can find somebody to switch in those last minute things, we know that young people are starting to find out what their summer schedules look like, what camps and sports and jobs look like. So utilize that substitution opportunity to connect with somebody else in your local schools or in your church body that maybe hadn't made a decision when you were starting your group. This is also a good place to mention, we're going to start the housing process so soon. You guys are going to have information on that this spring, which will include where your Bible study is, what servant event you've got, where you're going to be. So if you've got those people, I've lost my train of thought, to be honest, Julie.
The thing that we want to remind you of is that if you add now, we want you to keep adding people, but should you add enough people that changes your housing needs, that can impact where you're going to be housed. So I know now, mind you, we have hotels downtown, we have hotels in the Galleria, and so like I don't think you're going to go wrong with any of the hotels you're going to get placed in, right? We would much rather you bring young people and bring as many as you can than necessarily be concerned about that. But as we do housing, if you end up adding people and needing to add a bunch of rooms, that could impact the kinds of places that we can put you. So just something for you to keep in mind, especially for those of you that were very, who made sure that you had your stuff in on November 1st. Right, because you really want it to be downtown. We just want you to be aware of that. Now, I'm gonna make sure that I heard this right. So Meredith, we want to be clear. The increased rate is $450. Does not increase $450. No,
right.
The
it
rate
goes from $395 to $450. Yes.
Right. So right, and you don't have to pay your full balance. If you want to pay your full balance before the end of May, then you can go through fast registration, but you don't owe us the full balance until you get to the event. So we want to make sure that you know that as well.
Yeah.
And
just to recap those registration dates, we'll give them to you one more time.
Recap, because there's a lot happening.
Yes, March 1st, the gathering rate increases to $450 per participant. May 4th is the gathering registration closes, and May 31st is the last day to get those substitutions in. So if you're writing down dates, those are the top 3 right now. I see a question from Michael, who is asking about tax exempt. Tax exempt does not apply with your airline tickets. Yeah. And even you'll see when you're getting your hotel bill, like at the end of the gathering, when you get to the gathering, tax exempt only covers a certain amount of taxes. There are some taxes that are not covered by the tax exempt, and each hotel will have a different tax. So a hotel located near a concert venue has a different tax than a hotel not located by a concert venue. So everybody will be a little bit different on that, but if you've applied, you will get what's covered under the tax exempt, you will get exempt from. So just covering that really quick. We have a lot of feeds in the Facebook group about the tax exempt and people who have done it. It might be worth your time to just go into that little search bar on the top of the Facebook group and just type in tax exempt. We've answered a lot of questions. There's a lot of experienced adult leaders who have done this before, who they are fresh to the process. They're willing to help you out and do that. And also keep in mind, I'm seeing that Amanda said it took a while back. We did tell you guys a couple of months ago, they're really bogged down. This is totally out of our hands. We can't make it happen any faster. So the sooner you get this done, the better, but know that it can take a while to get your tax exempt status.
Yeah, and another thing that I've seen a lot on the Facebook group, and good to remind us that there is a search bar for that, is people talking about different fundraisers, right? So again, that's another awesome topic where you can type in fundraisers. We together brainstormed over 100 fundraiser ideas. So that's on there. Or like if people have done other fundraisers in the past and you want to go back and see who did those so that you can follow up with them for more information. Using that search bar is super handy in groups. I use it all the time. Helps to go back on those things. One thing we want you to know that is on the website and is coming gradually in the next few weeks is information about your district event. So you can go to the website and you can find your district coordinator and their contact information. Often they're going to have great information about all sorts of different things, but particularly about your district event. And as we get that information, we will put links to that up on the website so that you can go ahead and look for that. So your district coordinator is there to serve you. If you have questions or concerns, they are far more local. They're awesome. They're super responsive. We love our district coordinators. They work really hard. So be encouraged to think about like, hey, I would like to know more about my district event. They're great contacts. And we'll also put more information about those and registration and that kind of information as we get them from the coordinators up on the website.
And that's a good reminder that if you have a question about your district event, it's better to contact them than to call to the Gatheirng office. I've heard a few conversations come through our office, and we just tell them you've got to connect with your district coordinator. So if you want to cut out the middleman in that one, just go ahead and click on their email on the Gatheirng website. And I know we have a couple of district coordinators in the live with us today. So if they're there, maybe they'll give a chat and say, hey, who they are and what district they're representing. Moving forward, we do have a new volunteer opportunity for the Gatheirng. You know, we closed the YAV applications at the end of 2021, and we could always use more volunteers to make our participants' experience a very memorable, a smooth experience in Houston, as a lot of our adult leaders are volunteers, or this is their first time. If you haven't heard already, we have a Team Flex, which is a flexible opportunity, service opportunity. If you have an adult in your congregation, maybe they didn't make the cut to be an adult leader or they still want to serve, this is a great opportunity to share with them if they want to serve for just a day or the whole time. Encourage them to sign up with Team Flex. And as a Team Flex volunteer, they get access to all the gathering programming the days that they're serving. So if they serve all 5 days, they get to go to all 5 days of gathering programming, depending on what their service is throughout the event. We especially want anyone who's listening or anybody that you know that is in the Houston metro area, any local people that could drive to Houston. This is a great opportunity for you guys to come and show off that Southern hospitality, show off your city, and serve the youth of our congregations. So if you know anybody who is fitting any of those qualities, servant hearts, lives in Houston, wants to come to the gathering, the application for Team Flex is actually open until April 30th. So I'm sure you'll hear Juliana and I talk about this at least two more times in a Gathering Update Live, and of course on social media. So there is still plenty of time to apply for that, and that is on the Gathering website. We will get that in the chat for you guys.
Yeah. Another thing to remind you of that you've probably heard us talk about before is our LCEF debit cards. The deadline for those is going to be, I believe, May 2nd, right? These are great. They are debit cards that have a predetermined amount. You can tell how much you want to put on each card, and you can grab those cards when you get to the gathering from LCEF, and then you use those throughout your time to help your young people, for example, pay for food, right? I know for me, one of the biggest things that was a difficulty with a group was trying to figure out not only where to eat, then if we're in a place where you have lots of different options, how do you even pay for that until you give your kids cash? And so these debit cards are really, truly fantastic. You sign up for an account with LCEF, you have these cards, they're preloaded, people use them, then several days after the gathering, they get turned off, any excess money goes back into your account, right? So if you overshot and kids didn't use all of it, then that fundraising money gets back for you to be able to use for other things. It's great. I've seen a couple people say like, oh my gosh, but if I gave my kids a big card with a lot of money on it, they'd spend it all and we'd have $100 of ice cream in our bellies the first night. You can get cards with less money and more of them if that's a concern, right? So you can handle it however you want with your group, but especially in the cashless environment that we're getting more and more, especially Minute Maid is only going to be cashless. It gives you a lot more options and it is a lot less stressful to have to manage. So I want to encourage you to think about LCEF cards.
And another reminder on LCEF, just like your district events and your district coordinators, LCEF is the people to reach out to if you have questions regarding either your LCEF account or the debit cards. They know far more than Juliana and I know. So please reach out. Their contact information is on the Gathering website as well, and we put it in the chat. So please reach out to them if you have questions about them. If you call the Gathering office, we will just direct you to LCEF.
They're great partners. They have a lot of information. They have a whole website up now for you to be able to manage them. We have kind of 3 things that we know you are super eager to get more information on, and we are going to say not quite yet, right? Like almost, but not quite. So as you guys know, part of the thing that we try and communicate to you guys is we want to communicate to you in a way that makes sure that you know the right information, that we're not giving you incorrect or incomplete information when we do these things. And so we have kind of 3 things we've seen people talk about. We just want to remind you, soon, but not yet. So one of them is what we are calling the comprehensive food plan. And that just makes me happy because I want all of my food planning to be comprehensive.
Me too.
Yes. And as a youth leader who's taken young people to the gathering, this is fantastic. We are working with the George R. Brown Convention Center, Minute Maid, lots of fantastic people to make sure that there is plenty of food in downtown Houston and nearby for you guys to be able to utilize. Some of those are going to be just kind of out for you to be able to choose and navigate night from night or at lunchtime, depending on what's going on. Some of them are going to be pre-ticketed options, so we will make those available to you and let you know kind of a limited number of tickets are going to be available for certain food options that will be close by. Those will have kind of different price points. We will make all of this available to you. You will know kind of ahead of time so you can think and plan about your food. But if you are looking at downtown Houston and kind of going like, sometimes like there's some question marks about how much food. We are going to have so much food options there, and there's going to be lots of different ones. So make sure that you keep your eyeballs on the Facebook page and emails. On these lives, we'll let you know once we have more information about the food plan.
Absolutely. And I've seen a couple of questions on the Facebook group wondering about your serve an event options. If you remember when you did your registration, you had the option to rank either offsite or onsite serve an events. At this point in time, that is all you needed to do for your serve an events. We have a great team that's working with our local organizations to offer some offsite serve-in options for thousands of teens and your youth and adults during the gathering. We have some more details of on-site and off-site service coming soon, but we just wanted to let you know that if it involves off-site service is going to involve transportation and hotels. We just don't have all those details figured out just quite yet. So you guys have already done all the steps that you've taken by ranking them in your gathering registration. If for some reason your group has made a huge decision to just change their mind on what they wanted to do, you can still go back and change that, but you do need to contact our office if you change from offsite to onsite. If you don't want to make those changes, you're good to go, and you will find out in the spring what your options are going to be and what that looks like coming from what your hotel is. We've also seen a number of questions about the wind symphony and choir auditions. And I can guarantee you that stuff is coming soon. We promise you guys it'll come in the spring. We're getting close to having that information ready on these, but don't worry, we're going to let you know through social media and the Gathering update lives in our emails and on Engel's podcast when that information is ready to go and when we can start talking about auditions for your youth. And that will be on the Gathering website. Don't worry, we've got a lot of stuff that's coming soon. We want to make sure that we have pretty much written in stone when we give it to you guys. We don't want to have to keep going and changing information back and forth on some of those things. So we are working on that stuff, and we will get it to you and announce it to you as soon as we can. I think that's all we had covered. I would love to get some questions. I know we've got some questions going on in the chat, Juliana.
Yeah. So somebody asked about kind of food options and allergies. We want to get that information to you as soon as we can so that you can be able to assess that. I can't tell you right now because we can't tell. We don't have all the details. So again, it is something that we're trying to keep in consideration as much as we possibly can to make that accessible for folks. I think I saw the answer here, but yes, Minute Maid is just for mass events. There are plenty of cash-based options for lunch and at dinner, but just exclusively that one location. We want to make sure people don't plan to eat there and then only bring cash that would be some hungry kids. Right. I mean, it is what it is.
I see Blake asking about if you get put in the Galleria area, the Gathering is going to provide shuttles. What I can tell you right now is you should plan that the shuttle is going to pick you up in the morning and take you back in the evening. It's not going to be a continuous shuttle that goes throughout the day. If that changes, we will communicate that to our Galleria Hotel groups that are staying out there. But right now, if you're just kind of trying to make some plans of what we're going to do for lunch, I would plan just to get picked up in the morning and get dropped off in the evening.
So that's a great thing to remind us. So one of the things you can expect to see is that kind of in the May date range, we'll do a series of short videos. One of them will be for Galleria transportation, and we will give it to you so that you can look at all of the details for that. One of them is going to be about the food options, and you'll have all that information. So we are planning on a series kind of a short videos that are going to walk you through some of those specific things as we get closer. But like I said, we just want to make sure we have all that information. That their hotels are not assigned yet. They will be coming in the spring. There's a lot of you, and there is only one Krista. And so we appreciate your patience on that. And I saw payment schedules. Sorry, I was looking for one more. payment schedule. So you made your initial deposit. We love it. We're so excited for that. If you want to be in the quick registration line, yes, we need the full payment completely paid by the end of May. If you are going to bring a truck with you to the event, that will take you a little bit longer in registration, but you can do that as well. So hopefully that answers your payment.
And let's remind them, it doesn't matter which one you choose. If you
Yeah.
choose to pay it before the gathering, that's fine. If you choose to pay it at the gathering, that's fine. We'll get you through the registration process no matter what. It's just a matter of if you want to save a few minutes of your time when you first get to Houston.
Yeah, great questions. We have some more. I have to say, it is a little like we're watching your chat as we're doing the Zoom. The Zoom's a little bit fast, and watching my hands move is a little distressing. I deeply apologize for the way I gesture. Will there be a charge for first person during the week? That's a really good question.
I think we're working on some parking options. Sometimes it depends on which hotel you stay at. Sometimes hotels offer charter bus parking, but we are working on some parking options for you guys, and we'll be sure to communicate that once you kind of get your hotel assignments and figure out what your hotel offers versus what they don't offer.
Yeah, so Jerry asked from the airport to the hotel. You can get from the airport to the hotel however you want. Yes, you are on your own in that way, and that like you can choose how you get from the airport to the hotel and back again. We are working with a charter bus company, and that charter bus company will give you an option to take have a bus and be a prearranged charter bus transport from the airport to the hotel. That information's not out yet, but we gave some prices. It should be somewhere on the Facebook page and on the podcast, and so we will have that. That's not available yet, but if you wanted to count on that, it is a cost, right? There's a cost associated with that. So, but you will be able to sign up for that if you want to. But otherwise, you can choose any number of ways of getting. You can put a lot of people in an Uber, or
I always think about that group that rented a limo to get from the airport.
You know what? Like sometimes those things, it's weird, but sometimes those things are less expensive, right? Like
yes,
you can arrive to the gathering in style, check in and register, right? People are asking. I've heard a few people ask like, "Hey, when does this shindig get started?" Right? Do we need to come in a day early? Really, that's up to your group, right? Whether you come early or stay late. Lots of groups decide to do one or the other and add in some time around the city. If you're going to make the long trek to Houston and you live in a landlocked state, maybe you want to get a chance to go to the beach or somewhere else. But for us, really the biggest thing is we want you to get to registration on Saturday and get to Minute Maid before the mass event. So that is kind of where our kickoff is. That's where we start, where we would say like, make sure you're there in time for that. And then we are done Wednesday at noon. So if you're looking at flights, thinking like, how soon can we get to the airport? We say, don't fly out any sooner than 2. That kind of gives you enough time to, if you need to even leave straight from Minute Maid to the airport, you still have some time to do that. But as you're looking at like, yeah, you can absolutely come early, stay late. But when you're thinking about programming, you can look at the schedule online, and the schedule will tell you when programming is happening, just to make sure you're there in time for both registration and giving yourself enough time to enjoy worship and then not have to like sprint off too terribly early. Thanks, Lauren, for putting that in the chat about the airport shuttles.
Well, it looks like we're kind of coming to the end of our time. A good time to remind people, continue to connect with us on the Youth Ministry Facebook group. Check the Gatheirng website for all those resources, the registration book, along with those Bible studies with more resources coming soon. And also don't forget to, like, favorite, and listen to Engel's podcast from KFUO, Spotify, iTunes. We've got a whole Gatheirng playlist episode. So if you're going on a road trip, you're stuck inside because it's snowing and you need something to listen to, we've got a lot of good information out there for you guys. Juliana and I will be back next month for another Gathering update. We can't wait to see what unfolds in the month of February for Gathering planning for us and for you guys. We continue to pray for you and the youth in your congregation. As always, please feel free to reach out with questions on the Youth Ministry Facebook group or with your district coordinator. And we look forward to seeing you guys next month.